Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time, Tuesday night edition. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. Short week, given the holiday on the horizon, but don't worry, we got some stuff planned for you throughout the course of the next couple days, and certainly a full primetime show tonight. Mike Vrabel at the podium spoke earlier today. Of course, the Todd Downing situation kind of still drifting in the wind, for lack of a better term. We'll hear from Todd tomorrow for the first time since his unfortunate DUI situation. We will also get to the Bengals game and talk about it in terms of revenge, whether you consider it to be revenge or not. And then a weekend bounce back, because our weekend this week starts on a Tuesday, because this is the last live primetime show for the rest of the week. We will do all those things, and we're looking forward to having you guys participate no matter where you're hanging out tonight. Particularly, though, if you're hanging out on social media, as all of you are, because this is a live stream social media show, we would invite you to share this show. If you're on Twitter, please retweet it, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That is how you can get the show out there if you want to. If you're on Facebook Live, you can share not a public like Jesse Bailey or Craig Baxter, if you would be kind enough to do so. If you're on YouTube or Twitch like Lewis, or let's see, Derek R., also on YouTube tonight, you can make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already, and we would be grateful for you as well. Now that more of you are here, we got some college basketball on the screen, got a little Memphis Grizzlies as well. We'll see if they can't pull it out for producer Reed, who's been laying bets on them. And almost, it sounds like borderline losing money. I don't know how badly Reed's degenerate habits are, but perhaps we'll talk about them later on in the show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by, conveniently enough, Superbook Sports. Perhaps producer Reed went to the Superbook Sports app to lay down his wager tonight on the Memphis Grizzlies. You can do the same thing on any of your favorite teams, local or national. Superbook.com for terms and conditions. TrueMav Fitness, where you go to get your workout journey started, your fitness journey. You've got goals, New Year's resolutions. Those are overrated. Why not start now in November and get ahead of the game? TrueMav Fitness is where you go. TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free. Two Rivers Ford 2023 model year Fords available right now at the dealership in Mount Juliet. The best car buying experience you can find is at tworiversford.com. And the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. The Intel edge you need to succeed is what the Ashton team offers to you in this red-hot Nashville real estate market. GaryAshton.com is where you go. So, Of course, with the situation for Todd Downing, right? They have the game on Thursday night in Green Bay. They win the game decisively. The offense looks fantastic for the first time really all season long. They fly home directly after the game. Whatever happens between the time that they landed and the time that Todd Downing chose to drive home under the influence came to pass. Arrested, bonded out on the Friday morning afterwards. And since then, we've talked to Mike Vrabel about kind of what he can and cannot comment on. That was Friday, right? We had the 11:30 press conference with Mike via Zoom. He was asked a lot of questions. He said, listen, there's only so much I can say, for the purposes of not incriminating, self-incriminating, implicating the franchise. Like, it just doesn't benefit them to say anything other than I can't comment on that situation at this time. So now Mike's back at the podium today, and he's asked again about Todd Downing and the situation for the Titans offensive coordinator. And what Mike had to say about it was, we're going to roll with it.
Keep working until the league process comes to a conclusion, or how do you handle that now?
Well, we'll continue forward with, how things were as Todd is our offensive coordinator. Now those things could change. I want to make sure that everybody understands that at any point in time when we hear from the league or, the legal process, those things could obviously change. I want to make sure that everybody understands that. But as right now, that's where we're at, status quo.
So that's Mike Vrabel talking about the situation for Todd Downing. So Todd's going to coach on Sunday, right? Unless the league or the legal process steps in the immediate. Keyword from Vrabel is those things can change. Yeah, sure. I mean, if the league steps in and says, yeah, this guy can't coach on Sunday and has reasonable precedent to suspend him, then or rules in place to suspend him if they so chose, then yeah, the league can do that. If the legal process, you know, I'm not familiar with what the legal process of a DUI and speeding charge are as far as, when you go to court for such things, what a guilty verdict means versus are you going to contest it? Like, I've never been through it. I don't know enough about the process. But if the legal situation was to come about and say, yeah, this guy can't coach on Sunday, then obviously that can change. So what Vrabel's saying is, yeah, I mean, we're going to move forward with Todd as the offensive coordinator, but if the league or the legal process tells us that we can't at this point, all right, then we'll adapt as necessary. So it does bring up an interesting question, right? Because I think a lot of people are conflicted about this. And the message that it sends to not have any professional ramifications for the situation that Todd is in. I'm not advocating for or against something happening to Todd Downing. I don't have all the details at my disposal, but I am curious to know what you think of the fact that it seems like they're just going to move forward at this point. So your Two Rivers Ford take is this: fair or foul? The Titans moving forward with Todd Downing as the offensive coordinator, based on what Mike Vrabel had to say today. You can respond as you like in the comment section, and we'll certainly talk about it. Of course, your Two Rivers Ford take is made possible by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is the best car buying experience humanly possible. It's just simply the best. There's no way around it. They go above and beyond to make sure that they are the best for over or nearly 40 years, coming up on 40 years, as a matter of fact, here in Middle Tennessee. Two Rivers Ford is the best place for you to go through the car buying experience for a 2023 model year Ford, because they always make it fast, easy, and fun. No matter how you like to shop, Two Rivers Ford can accommodate you, and they're always so great to work with. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So, how to look at this situation for Todd Downing? Fair or foul is the question. The Titans moving forward with Todd Downing as OC. Blaine says fair. Gary, Tracy, Lewis, Rockstars, William Young all agree. Foul, the first one that I've seen for Jonathan Hernandez. Brandon Connor, okay, so a little more mixed. Meh is my answer, says Born Free. Well, that's not really an answer. Bryce Erickson said kind of neutral, but didn't Andy Reid's son kill? He did severely injure a woman or a little girl. I can't remember. Forgive me. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't remember all the details on Britt Reid's driving while intoxicated situation. So sentenced to 3 years in prison. He was, as a matter of fact, at the start of the month. I didn't realize it was that recent. Her 6-year-old daughter, so it's reporting this on the side of the mother, Felicia Miller, went to downtown Kansas City courthouse to describe the hell she and her family, most notably her 6-year-old daughter, Ariel Young, have been through since former Kansas City Chiefs assistant coach Britt Reid drove drunk and smashed into their parked car 21 months ago. So, the daughter was in a coma. The 6-year-old was in a coma for a couple of months. Just, at the end of the day, it is a severe situation because of all the different things that could have happened. I know that Todd Downing didn't do what Britt Reid did, but while driving under the influence, we know that those things are always possible, and it's horrific when those things come to pass. And I can't speak to this as somebody who's lost. I've known people I've known people in my circles of other friends who have passed away due to those kind of situations, whether it be on the fault of them or on the fault of the person who was under the influence. But it's just such a hard thing to kind of determine. Here's what I'll say about it, okay? Because Roy DeMeo, I think a lot of people probably feel conflicted, right? There's due process that's associated with this. The legal process is going to play itself out. for the purposes of him of keeping his job. We don't know what disciplinary measures have been implemented internally, nor do I anticipate that Mike Vrabel would tell us. Now, I wasn't at the press conference today. I don't know and I need to go through the transcript. I don't know if anybody was asked about internal discipline beyond suspension. But again, I don't think Mike would let us in on something like that. Fine him, but don't punish the team at the end of the season. Discuss his job. And that's probably the most rational way to go about it as the legal process plays out, right? I do think it's fair for Todd Downing to keep his job. I absolutely do, even as the decision making is horrific and that there's just no excuse for that. I also, in the same way that I don't want to see the life of somebody innocent, as we talked about with the little girl who was injured in the Britt Reed situation. There are two lives involved with this. One obviously directly more impacting than the other, but I don't think that the guy's life should be over just because he made a terrible, terrible mistake. I would feel that way. I feel that way about Britt Reed. Now, Britt Reed is obviously suffering consequences. There's a difference between suffering consequences and, having your career ostensibly end. I'm not saying that Todd Downing should be, I just don't think Todd Downing should be fired specifically for the DUI situation without all the facts available to me. I don't know how this thing has gone internally. I don't even know what his BAC was. I don't know how lit up he was. All I know is the affidavit, what was reported, what was discussed from the Tennessee Highway Patrol on all those things. And, at this point, would I be good with them suspending him? Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible idea. At least the optics of that, but it does ultimately hurt the team. And Mike Vrabel's decision making, I would imagine, is, well, cost benefit analysis. I still have a job to do. My job is to win games. Everybody else's life gets worse if we don't win games. Does the cost of suspending Todd Downing for this game outweigh the benefit of what message that it sends when ultimately, rightly or wrongly, things get covered up in football based on winning? So I do think that there's a lot to be parsed through, and not all situations are created equal. By the way, I don't think there's just so many situations like this, and just I think whatever higher power you want to thank that no worse harm happened in this circumstance, although it does on a regular basis all over the world. We can get into the comment. We'll get more of the comments here in just a second, right after I remind you that TrueMav Fitness is where you go to get your fitness journey started. Like I said earlier in the show, don't wait until your New Year's resolution when everybody's doing it and your motivation will peter out. Why not be ahead of the game? Be prepared for the people who will take over with the New Year's resolutions and get your fitness goals underway today. Thanksgiving, a difficult time. You want to be around family. You want to be cozy. You want to be wearing baggy or bigger clothing, and you want to eat all the turkey and pumpkin pie and everything else in between. That's all well and good as long as you continue to maintain with TrueMav Fitness, and they will put you in a position to succeed with their group classes, with their personal training, or of course, their open gym. All available in a variety of different membership options at TrueMathFitness.com, and your first workout is free. So, luckily, he didn't hurt anyone, says Titans Forever. I agree. It is nothing but luck that he didn't hurt anyone, right? Because we know how coin toss these circumstances can be. Stop making excuses for bad judgment and poor behavior. I don't think that I'm making excuses. You guys may feel differently, and maybe I'm not being self-aware enough. I think that from their perspective, they have a stated goal, and Todd Downing helps that goal. And the way that I look at it is, would it be a good message or a morally correct message or an ethically correct message to suspend this dude at very at minimum, as and try and win without him. Yeah, I do, but I don't necessarily look to my sports teams for morality. Um, they've got a job to do. I understand that football is a business, and the business of football does not stop for anybody. I'm not saying that's right. I just know how this world works. It would be the right message to suspend him, but also, when a football team lets me down, or a sporting person, an athlete, whatever, uh, it's just what should my expectations be for a football team to do the correct thing that's not in the best interest of the business of football. Business decisions work both ways in this sport, and while I may disagree with it, while you may disagree with it, that's the path that most of these organizations typically go down. So, you think Todd helps this team? Really? Hell yes, I do. They're the number one red zone offense in football. Again, Todd Downing has an innate ability to help them put up points and manufacture offense out of a situation where they should have no business looking the way that they did in Green Bay, even if Green Bay's not a good football team. Green Bay's not a good football team. You beat a bad football team. Aaron Rodgers, he gave you all the you gave him all the opportunities to go out and try and do something about it, and he failed. Aaron Rodgers is playing poorly right now. Green Bay is not a good team, but no question about it is Todd Downing a bit of a magician when it comes to red zone offense, and has been that way since they were at their peak. He was a part of the red zone offense installation. In fact, that's how he came up to the offensive coordinator job, not just because of tight ends coach, but because his task, along with several others, as a part of working under Arthur Smith or working under Matt LaFleur, or rather Arthur Smith, because when Arthur was elevated, Todd was hired. So under Arthur Smith, Todd Downing very, very much involved in the preparation for the red zone. I'm not saying that he's the best offensive coordinator of all time. Don't mistake me, but there's no question that he helps this football team. And that if you're going to look at the ways that they gut out wins on offense, that you can't take credit away from Todd Downing that way, even though you don't like him. Like I said, I don't think he's the best offensive coordinator in the world. I think he's good enough. I think he's fine. I think the hate for that dude, as far as the schematic stuff is concerned, is way overstated. It's just a bit of nonsense. Brad Simpson says, "Hey all, I just got here. Are the Titans getting rid of Todd?" No, Todd Downing's not going anywhere for the time being. We'll see what happens at the end of the season. So I will continue to keep you updated with this. Again, Todd Downing's going to speak tomorrow. This is the last live primetime show of the week, but we are going to have something for you tomorrow around the Todd Downing press conference, because I'm going to be at working anyway, so I might as well get you guys a little something, even if a lot of you are going to be out and about on a Wednesday night. So let's get to the idea of this Bengals game as a revenge game, because that's a narrative that they seem to want to downplay over at St. Thomas Sports Park. The question that I would like to ask you is this: should Titans fans view this weekend's game as a revenge game? I'm not talking about the team. I'm not talking about the coaches or the players. Should you, as a Titans fan, view this as an opportunity for revenge? We'll talk about it together right after I tell you that the people who make this fine show possible are Superbook Sports. That's where you go to get in on all the action this season. College basketball on your television. Producer Reed betting the Grizzlies. Superbook.com is where you go for the best odds boosts and promotions. They'll let you take the fight to Vegas with the best odds makers on the strip in the Superbook in Las Vegas. Superbook.com, as I mentioned. For more information, gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789, and make sure you download the Superbook app today, where they'll match your first bet up to $1,000, win or lose. So, as far as this goes, how do you look at this as far as the optics of it, right? Is this an opportunity for you to get revenge on the Cincinnati Bengals? Because Mike Vrabel wasn't interested in talking about it that way. I believe he said more than half the players who were on the roster did not play in that game, and he is correct in that assessment. Certainly that message got to the locker room, and that was the message being distributed around. Even as much trauma as that loss to the Bengals likely caused you, them, and everybody in between.
The playoff game, maybe what you knew about them from back in January, helped you in preparation for this one?
You know, I mean, this is not a revenge game. More than half of our team didn't even play in that game.
Ryan, your coach says Sunday is not a revenge game. Are you of that mindset as well?
Yeah, no doubt. Just like I said after Thursday night, that was last year. Half this team, wasn't even here. So this is a new team facing another new team. Obviously, a game we want to win, but it has nothing to do.
We're worried about this year. We're not worried about what happened in the playoff last year. It's all about this year, and how can we get a win this Sunday?
Revenge game for many guys in terms of they're not saying that, but
right.
The fans think of it that way. I mean, now to get them back here, kind of nice to have them here on the road again.
I mean, it makes sense for the fans to feel like that. I mean, I'm not saying that we're looking at it is just another game, but I hope that the fans really feel that way because they should come out super amped up, tailgating all day, be excited for this game because we're going to need them.
Not a revenge game, not a revenge game, not a revenge game. Say it 3 times fast and maybe it'll come true. So they're not looking at it as a revenge game. And by the way, they should. January's game has nothing to do with this game. It was the divisional round. This is week 12. That was a different football team for the Titans. It's certainly a different football team for the Bengals. Yes, would it be nice to get a conference win? Of course, as you jockey for playoff position. And as the Chiefs continue to pull away from people, you want to try and keep pace. The Dolphins as well, currently looking and legitimately going to have a shot at the number 1 overall seed. So yeah, to beat the Bengals would be beneficial to you. And if it makes you feel a little good in the process, that's great. The football team shouldn't look at it that way. But should you? Hell yes. They are single-handedly, the Bengals. Well, I'm sure Ryan Tannehill has his own part to play in the middle of all that. But they are responsible for the single biggest moment of sports trauma that I can remember in this city in the last 7 years. Tennessee losing to South Carolina kind of felt that way, but not really because South Carolina just rolled them. They weren't even competitive, and it wasn't the actual playoff. It was for the playoff berth on the line, but still, the way the Vols got beat 63-38 this Saturday wasn't close to that. This loss, as far as I can remember, I mean, the Preds losing in the Stanley Cup didn't feel that badly because it felt like they really should never have made it that far to begin with. I don't remember a Grizzlies run that was quite that gut-wrenching in the last, let's call it 5 years, 6 years. I don't think that there is a loss in any sport across the Tennessee spectrum that felt as gut-wrenching as that one did. So, yes, you should look at it as a revenge game if you're a fan. The football team is going to manage things differently. They're going to approach things differently. Maybe at the end of the day, they'll feel a certain type of way. If Ryan Tannehill has a day on Jesse Bates' neck, then he's probably going to feel pretty good about it after the fact. But I don't care if he's thinking about Jesse Bates and a pick and the red zone pick, the second of 3 picks in the playoff game. And that he's going to, be trying to force things into windows that don't make sense because he's actively trying to push or force it against the Bengals. No, I don't care about that. Does Quentin Spain play for the Bengals anymore? I don't think he plays for the Bengals anymore, or at least he's not starting anymore. I need to take a look at their offensive line. I haven't had a chance to watch too much of them just yet ahead of this game. But producer Reed hopefully is looking that up now because obviously that was a funny exchange with Quentin Spain, who did nothing to protect Joe Burrow in that playoff game, chirping on Twitter at Jeffrey Simmons after the fact. I'm pretty sure he's not on that team anymore, but I need to go check the roster. Anyway, so yes, you should treat it as a revenge game. Weekend bounce back on a Tuesday feels kind of funky, but that's okay. That means it's a holiday week, and we all love to see it. Question, real simple. Who needs to bounce back the most this week in sports? Give me your answer on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. I will tell you in the meantime about the people who make this program possible, about the people who make the Intel Edge possible. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com is where you go for your dream address without the stress. The official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators will get you hooked up. That Intel Edge helps you sell your home without any showings or staging, helps you find your next home while you sell your current one in this red-hot real estate market and to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Huge. The intel edge that you need to succeed, and only Gary Ashton and his team have it. So go to GaryAshton.com for more information. Who needs to bounce back the most in sports this week? Argentina, says Tom Moore. For those of you consuming vigorously the World Cup, it's been a lot of crazy results, although college basketball tonight, pretty good as well. The Vikings, says Craig Baxter, getting just rolled. Cowboys were sliding a little bit. Well, not sliding a little bit, but they had just come off a loss to Green Bay in overtime. Big game with the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota just got smoked. It was brutal. Aaron Hobson, not Aaron Dobson. I'm pretty sure Aaron Dobson plays wide receiver, or did at one point play wide receiver for the Patriots. Aaron Hobson says the Vikings. Yes, I would agree with that. Kenyatta says my septic tank better bounce back when I get back from my mom's for Thanksgiving. Jesus, that sounds graphic. I don't even know if I don't know if you mean septic tank repair or whatever it's going to do to your insides, but that sounds deeply unpleasant. I hope that's not what you're referring to. I hope more of your Thanksgiving dinner stays in. Danny Sutherland says Will Compton, LOL, year 10. Yeah, sources say that him trumpeting that signing with the Falcons, that deal hasn't been done yet, as last I checked. So year 10 sounds like it's in danger. I don't know what's going on there. Tough scene. The Vols, and it's not even close, says Chill Mode. Yeah, that's Kirk Herbstreit actually picked Vanderbilt to upset Tennessee this weekend. I was watching the second half of the college football playoff show, and certainly that is a consideration, given those of you who lived through 2016, where basically the exact same thing happened with the SEC East on the line. But my nominee would be Broncos fans, because I would say Melvin Gordon, who got cut, but Melvin Gordon turned it on its head in ways that were laugh out loud funny to me. So this is on his Instagram post. Now, you can't really see it, but you see that it's a white Bronco. You see that there's, a 1980s car chase going around him. Looks like something out of a Blues Brothers scene. But this, of course, is the famous white Bronco of O.J. Simpson. Now, you see a photoshopped little individual in there that doesn't necessarily resemble O.J. from a distance. So what could possibly the reference that Melvin Gordon be making on his Instagram story be? Well, there is Melvin Gordon in a white Bronco, escaping from police. Ha ha, boy, y'all fans was hell, LMFAO. Thank y'all too, Broncos country. Let's at least laugh on the way out. And he's riding a white Bronco out of town, having photoshopped himself into O.J. Simpson's seat. It is tremendous. That's laugh out loud funny. Well done by Melvin Gordon. Broncos fans need to bounce back. That's going to do it for us tonight and this week. We'll have a little bit of a mini primetime situation tomorrow night. I assume we'll do it at the same time, Producer Reed. Well, I get it. Let's ride. Yes, Danny Sutherland. That's correct. Let's ride on a white Bronco out of town. All the meanings, all the metaphors. So I assume Producer Reed will put the video out that we're going to make at the same time tomorrow night, 8 p.m. So you can catch that there. Radio show tomorrow. Chig Okonkwo is on the radio show tomorrow, and we'll look forward to talking to Chig as he has continued to make impact plays in the offense. That'll be fun from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. I'll be here all week because they got practice all week, and I'll keep you updated on social media. But if I don't talk to you live between now and then, have a fantastic Thanksgiving or whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I feel sorry for you because it's the best holiday of all of the holidays. Nothing beats Thanksgiving as far as I'm concerned. But if you don't and you're getting a long weekend out of it anyway, good for you. Enjoy the long weekend, and certainly we'll catch up at some point. Live the next time, if it's not on the radio show tomorrow, live the next time will be right here because we'll do a primetime show after the Bengals game. See you guys.
All right, we haven't scored a point since I came in here. I am gone, guys.
What?
That's it?
We got a couple more questions.
No, that's it.
Peace out by the GM.